What's going on, guys? My name is Dillard and I'm coming back at you with another video. For today's video, we're going to be doing a breakdown over every single team that has played through the month of April that is in the American League. Without wasting any more time, let's get right into the video. So the first team we will be going over is the New York Yankees, which ended up finishing with a 17-12 record in the month of April. The Yankees had a total of 1,127 plate appearances with 46 home runs, 156 runs, 148 RBIs, and 18 stolen bases. The Yanks had a total batting average of .249, an on-base percentage of .341, a slugging of .447. They also recorded an on-base percentage plus slugging of .788, and last but not least had an offensive WAR of 5.0. For the Yankees pitching, they had 17 wins and 12 losses with a total of 6 saves. They also had an ERA of 3.89 and an FIP of 3.97. They were also able to record a WHIP of 1.25 and had a pitching WAR of 4.9. The Boston Red Sox were able to record a 13-17 win-loss ratio for the month of April. Boston had a total of 1,132 plate appearances with a total of 32 home runs, 134 runs, 125 RBIs, and 17 stolen bases. The Red Sox had a batting average of .239, an on-base percentage of .319, and a slugging of .392. The Red Sox also had an on-base percentage plus slugging stat of .712 and had an offensive WAR of 1.9. For the pitching side of things, the Red Sox were able to record 13 wins, 17 losses with 8 saves. They had a total team ERA of 5.0 and an FIP of 4.61. The Red Sox had a total WHIP of 1.40 and had a pitching WAR of 2.0. For the month of April, the Rays were able to go 23-12. Tampa Bay had a total of 1,090 plate appearances with 35 home runs, 135 runs, 131 RBIs, and 21 stolen bases. Tampa Bay had a batting average of .257, an on-base percentage of .338, and a slugging of .444. The Rays had an on-base percentage plus slugging of .782 and recorded a 5.9 offensive WAR. For the pitching side of things, the Rays were able to record 19 wins with 9 losses and 12 saves. They had an ERA of 2.95 and an FIP of 3.41. Tampa Bay also had a WHIP of 1.09 and recorded a 4.6 pitching WAR. The Toronto Blue Jays came out of April with a 14-15 record. Toronto had a total of 1,071 plate appearances with a total of 31 home runs, 120 runs, 113 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases. Toronto had a batting average of .231, an on-base percentage of .296, and a slugging of .383. The Blue Jays composed an on-base percentage plus slugging of .678 and had an offensive WAR of 1.3. For the pitching side of things, the Blue Jays recorded 14 wins and 15 losses with 8 saves. The team had a pitching ERA of 3.36 and an FIP of 3.98. Toronto also had a WHIP of 1.20 and a pitching WAR of 3.4. The Orioles came out of April with a 13-23 win-loss ratio. They had a total of 1,128 total plate appearances with 33 home runs, 125 runs, 114 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases. Baltimore also had an average of .241, an on-base percentage of .303, and a slugging of .392. Baltimore recorded a .695 on-base percentage plus slugging and also had a 1.4 offensive WAR. For the Baltimore Orioles pitching, they were able to record 10 wins with 20 losses and 5 saves. They had a team ERA of 6.05 with an FIP of 6.49. Baltimore also had a WHIP of 1.53 and last but not least had a negative 1.9 WAR. The Cleveland Indians were able to come out of April 16-12. Cleveland had a total of 1,033 plate appearances with a total of 26 home runs, 109 runs, 98 RBIs, and 20 stolen bases. Cleveland's offense had a batting average of .215, an on-base percentage of .301, and a slugging of .340. The Indians also had an on-base percentage plus slugging of .641 and had an offensive WAR of 0.1. For the pitching side of things, the Indians were able to record 16 wins with 12 losses and 10 total saves. The team's ERA was at 3.56, while their FIP was at 3.61. The Indians also recorded a WHIP of 1.21 and had a pitching WAR of 4.9. The Royals were able to come out of April with 13 wins and 24 losses. They had a total of 1,100 plate appearances with 34 total home runs, 132 runs, 126 RBIs, and 29 stolen bases. The Royals were able to record a batting average of .241, an on-base percentage of .315, and a slugging of .422. Kansas City also had an on-base percentage plus slugging of .737 and an offensive WAR of 3.2. For the Royals pitching, they had a total of 9 wins with 20 losses and a total of 4 saves. They had an ERA of 5.39 and an FIP of 4.75. Kansas City also had a WHIP of 1.49 and a pitching WAR of 0.7. The Tigers were able to come out of April with 13 wins and 14 losses. Detroit had 1,013 plate appearances with a total of 20 home runs, 94 runs, 89 RBIs, and 12 stolen bases. Detroit also had an average of .228, an on-base percentage of .304, and a slugging of .372. The Tigers were also able to record an on-base percentage plus slugging of .676 and an offensive WAR of 0.4. For the pitching side of the spectrum, the Tigers were able to record 13 wins with 14 losses and 12 total saves. They had an ERA of 3.98 and an FIP of 4.07. The Tigers were also able to record a WHIP of 1.28, and the Tigers also had a pitching WAR of 3.9. The Minnesota Twins were able to come out of the month of April with 17 wins and 10 losses. Minnesota had 1,009 plate appearances with 50 home runs, 141 runs, 133 RBIs, and 7 stolen bases. Minnesota had a batting average of .257, an on-base percentage of .325, and a slugging of .495. Minnesota also recorded an on-base percentage plus slugging of .820 and boasted a 5.5 offensive WAR. For the pitching for the month of April, the Minnesota Twins were able to record 17 wins with 10 losses and 10 total saves. Their ERA was at 4.37 and their FIP was at 4.25. The Twins also had a 1.33 WHIP and were able to record a pitching WAR of 3.7. The White Sox ended up coming out of April with 16 wins and 18 losses. Chicago had 1,002 total plate appearances with 35 home runs, 131 runs, 126 RBIs, and 22 total stolen bases. They had a total average of .263, an on-base percentage of .333, and a slugging of .433. Chicago also had an on-base percentage plus slugging of .766 and had an offensive WAR of 3.3. For the pitching side of the spectrum, the White Sox recorded 12 total wins with 14 losses and 7 saves. They also had an ERA of 5.38 and an FIP of 4.86. Chicago also recorded a WHIP of 1.47 and a pitching WAR of 1.2. The Angels came out of the month of April with 13 wins and 17 losses. They recorded 1,127 total plate appearances with 38 home runs, 140 runs, 136 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases. They had a batting average of .239, an on-base percentage of .322, and a slugging of .406. The Angels also recorded an on-base percentage plus slugging of .728 and had a total offensive WAR of 3.6. For the pitching side, the Angels were able to record 13 wins with 17 losses and 7 total saves. They had a total ERA of 4.75 and an FIP of 4.92. The Anaheim Angels were also able to record a WHIP of 1.39 and a pitching WAR of 1.1. The Houston Astros were able to come out of April with 18 wins and 12 losses. They had a total of 1,147 plate appearances with 48 total home runs, 143 runs, 141 RBIs, and 13 stolen bases. They had a batting average of .270 with an on-base percentage of .347 and a slugging of .472. The Houston Astros also had an on-base percentage plus slugging of .819 and an offensive WAR of 6.9. For the pitching side, the Astros were able to record 18 wins with 12 losses and a total of 9 saves. They also had a team ERA of 3.37 and an FIP of 3.60. Houston was also able to record a WHIP of 1.02 and a total pitching WAR of 4.7. The Athletics were able to come out of the month of April with 14 wins and 18 losses. They had 1,208 total plate appearances with 43 total home runs, 145 runs, 138 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases. The Athletics had a batting average of .238, an on-base percentage of .315, and a slugging of .405. Oakland also recorded an on-base percentage plus slugging of 720 and an offensive WAR of 3.6. For the pitching, the Athletics were able to record 14 wins with 18 losses and 6 total saves. They had an ERA of 4.61 and an FIP of 4.43. Oakland also recorded a WHIP of 1.34 and had a pitching WAR of 2.8. In the month of April, the Mariners went 18-14. They had a total of 1,279 plate appearances with 60 home runs, making it the most in the majors for the month of April, 189 runs, 185 RBIs, and 25 total stolen bases. They had a batting average of .252, an on-base percentage of .339, and a slugging of .477. Seattle also recorded an on-base percentage plus slugging of .815 and had a total offensive WAR of 5.3. For the pitching side, the Mariners were able to record 18 wins with 14 losses and 12 total saves. They had an ERA of 4.53 and an FIP of 4.72. Seattle also had a WHIP of 1.41 and a pitching WAR of 1.7. And last, but certainly not least, out of all the AL teams, the Texas Rangers ended up coming out of the month of April with an even record of 14-14. Texas had a total of 1,093 plate appearances with 42 home runs, 166 runs, 158 RBIs, and 25 total stolen bases. Texas was able to record an average of .260, an on-base percentage of .342, and a slugging of .462. The Rangers also had an on-base percentage plus slugging of .804 and had an offensive WAR of 4.5. For the pitching side of things, the Rangers were able to record a dead even 14 wins and 14 losses with 7 total saves. Their pitching had an ERA of 5.47 and an FIP of 5.33. The Texas Rangers also recorded a WHIP of 1.56 and a total pitching WAR of 0.4. So there you have it, basically the entire American League in a nutshell through the month of April. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you do subscribe if you haven't already and click that notification bell to become part of the notification squad. And definitely comment on what I can improve on, like the video, and share it all over social media. With that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. See you guys later.